Two items and two people.
Here you go. One in there.
Okay. Kate, are you ready?
We're good to go.
Technically 6. Oh, there we go. All right. 7 o'clock on the dot. Let's get started. Call this meeting to order. I'll hear motions or discussion on the consent agenda.
I noticed on, sorry, Mr. Chair, the minutes, December 4th, it's William Harrith, not Willie Hyra. You know where that is? Okay.
We also call him Big Bill. So
I'll put that in parentheses.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from on 2.1 and 2.2, minutes from December 4th and minutes from January 8th. Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Failed to mention we excuse Ken tonight as well as Bo from this meeting. And we'll turn the time over to Katie.
So item 3.1 is public hearing and consideration of James Whitmore's request for conditional use approval of the SAJ Lehi RV storage located at approximately 4300 North Digital Drive. The Freedom Trucking Driving School was previously approved on this site in December of 2023. The property is zoned light industrial and does not have utilities connected to the site. The plan shows that the required 20-foot setback from the property lines and the 8-foot masonry fence is met according to the development code. The DRC had 12 red line comments, which mostly include technical updates to the site. But please include all DRC comments in your motion. This is a conditional use, and conditional uses are allowed uses. The Planning Commission can determine if reasonable conditions need to be put upon them to minimize impacts to surrounding sites. This is a public hearing item. There were no online comments for this, so I'll turn it back to the Commission for any questions.
All right. Is the applicant present? Come on up if you'd like to share some more with us. State your name and...
My name's James Whitmore. I'll leave that where it is, I guess. I do have one question. You mentioned an 8-foot concrete fence. I was under the understanding that we had to get a special permit for 8 foot over 6 foot. And 8 foot's what we want to do. So are we already there at 8 feet?
Correct, yeah. So, yeah, according to your site plan, you have the 8-foot fence called out.
Okay.
And we actually require that as part of our code for the use that you're doing, so.
Great. No, I really don't have anything to say. I think it's pretty well covered in all the literature that I read, and we're just requesting the use there for the covered storage. We feel like concrete fence and buildings will start to improve the way that site looks up there. The whole thing's kind of a mess, frankly. So any improvement we can do to make it look better will start to help it. That's all I have.
Any questions for the applicant? All right. Thank you. This is a public hearing. This time we'll open the public hearing and invite anyone who would like to speak. Seeing a mad rush, we will close the public hearing and turn it back to the commission for further deliberation or a motion.
I think we've discussed this one enough times in the past, yeah? Everything looks in order. We entertain a motion?
Yeah.
Excellent. Then for item 3.1, public hearing of James Whitmore's request for conditional use and approval at approximately 4300 North Digital Drive. I move that we give approval with the findings that the proposed plans meet the code requirements, the 20-foot setback, the masonry fence, and yeah, that that this is all in order after several rounds. And, of course, include DRC comments.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, you're good to go.
Glad to have this sorted out for you.
When will that go before? Oh, no, that's done.
That's
You're
it.
good.
That's
You're good to go.
final.
You're clear.
Yep.
All right, 3.2.
Item 3.2 is public hearing and recommendation of JDH Development's request for an exception for a required trail connection to a master plan trail and to meet the block length. The exception is requested due to grade at Vivian Estates Phase 2B, located at approximately 2600 North and 600 East. All code requirements have been met, but the applicant requests approval for the required trail. Providing a connection through the subdivision would give the community direct trail access to nearby master plan trails on 600 East. In January 2019, the council approved the Vivian Estates Phase 2 preliminary subdivision, and the preliminary subdivision shown a connection that would meet the connectivity requirements. The applicant requests removing the trail due to steep grade. The code does allow exceptions to the connectivity requirements based off of grade. The Planning Commission will provide a recommendation, and it will ultimately be the City Council's decision. This is a public hearing item, and there was one comment online. I can read that during the public comment period, but turn it back to the Commission for any questions.
Is the applicant present? Tell us your name and anything else you want us to know.
Yeah, name is Austin Cooper, work for JDH Development. Can I plug this in?
Yeah, you have HDMI.
I just wanted to show some pictures that we took of the development. Okay, so just so we get a feel of where it is. So this was the preliminary plat, and as you can see, 600 East was straight. Oh, maybe.
Don't breathe wrong.
There you go. 600 East was just went straight up and down, north to south. And at the time that this was approved, where this blue square is, or rectangle is, that's where the road was flat from 2600 North to that point, and then started going on a decline. At that time, it was it was like an 19% incline. So we since then have changed it. Now, as you kind of saw in some of the other drawings, now it starts going down at about this point. And it doesn't go straight. It actually cuts back into the lots here. And I did want to show this image. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So this is a view of it right now. Some of this dirt will be moved here, but most of this is actually about we're already 3 feet lower than the road over here at 55 or 550 East. And this is the slope. So I just wanted to get a picture that you can see on here, right? There's any of the drawings show all of these lines that show you the topo of the. It's pretty steep, but I wanted to present this image to you and just show you how steep it is. Right at the place where the trail would be, it's right about here. So this is about 8 to 10 feet. Of an incline. The proposal for the lot, and I apologize if I'm going back and forth too quick, but the proposal would probably be that it would be fairly flat till about here, and then there'd be from there to here, there's about 8 to 10 feet. At the steepest, it is just over 8%, which is I think the max is, of the for code is 8%. So it's a little high there. Anyway, I just wanted to present that as kind of more information to give you guys some visuals of what we're asking. I think as 600 East has now become, in my opinion, I think it's now a thoroughfare as it's got a straight shot to the family park, the soccer fields there, and then also all the way down to Main Street. This could be a very busy street, so we're hoping for an exception based on grade and also safety. Is kind of what we're talking about. So Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you, and yeah, I don't know, turn the time back over.
Any questions for the applicant?
Did Lehi City do that road behind? Okay.
Yeah, that was all Lehi City. Yeah, initially we had everything. I don't know if it ever got to full approval for the whole development, but I think we were right there close. And Lehi City asked us to hold off on these last lots that are now part of 2B, as they were looking at 600. And then now with 600 going in, it's kind of thrown a lot of things for a loop on this project. But
So just to be entirely clear, I'm not sure if this question is more for staff or for you, Austin, yes?
Austin, yeah.
So this change in elevation, this slope, this was Lehi City's doing or the applicant's doing?
Lehi City.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, Gary, if you want to jump in
Go out the road,
either
too.
one.
Go through the
But
road.
yeah, we did design the road. We coordinated with their development, but it did go through a lot of different iterations, and it ended up steeper than what was originally envisioned, or at least, what was there before for this section. But yeah, we went out, met on site. I think you could still make it work. You'd probably either have to do stairs. So anyways, there's some discretion here for the commission to decide how to recommend, and then ultimately the city council.
Without this connection here, how would someone in the neighborhood get to the trail?
Yeah. So without the trail, basically these homes here would have to go to the street that's right here, and then up to 2600, and then down 600. So yeah, there's the street access there. Yeah. So for a lot of these homes on this end, not a huge change, but obviously these homes over here, it's a pretty sizable change to have to walk all the way around.
Is the primary concern an engineering challenge?
Yeah, engineering. The slope. So basically, what would have to happen? I think this will probably be easy. What would need to happen is if we did end up doing stairs, you do stairs there, but then there would need to be retaining walls. Or we slope the lot next to it and just kind of slowly grade down to it. But 8 to 10 feet, we're then into the lot, 15, 20 feet, which then makes the lot, the usable space on that lot significantly decreased. Stairs could also be a challenge. I mean, this would be maintained by the city. We'll dedicate it to the city, would dedicate to the city, and it would be maintained to the city with stairs. It's a big challenge. My understanding of the way the code says, in preliminary, it was agreed to that we would do, just asphalt for the trail. Stairs would have to be out of concrete. If there's a retaining wall, any of that stuff, anything additive would be on the
Significantly,
would increase it, and most of that would probably fall on the city.
right.
Since this was a requirement, are you offering anything in place of this trail connection?
We haven't offered anything. From our perspective, looking at what has happened with 600, it feels like the city's already taken quite a bit from us. Under this plan, what was approved, our average usable space for these lots was, I don't even remember. Under the preliminary, the average usable space was about 13,000 square feet. Now, if we do the trail, it goes to about just over 11,000. So we lose about 18 to 1,900 usable square feet per lot on average. If we look just at this lot at the end here, it's really small, but here it has it as a 22,000 square foot lot. Now with this one, it's at about a 17, just under 17,000 square foot lot. So this lot alone loses about 5,000 square feet. This is a, it's, and it's, I mean, it's big enough slopes here that we're not even sure how we're gonna, what kind of home is gonna be able to go on there, and probably have to do some settling with the dirt, and there's a lot of other things. Most likely what we may need to do is combining these two lots into one to be able to have enough usable space. Part of this, the CCNRs of this development is there has to be 3 garages. It's getting down to where it may be hard to put a home, and most of the homes in this development are, you know, in between 1.2 to 1.6 million dollar homes.
Right.
So it's a nice enough home, nice enough area that, you know, you get down to these smaller lots with now the road being pushed out. It's going to be difficult, so we might end up we'll probably actually going to combine those 2 lots. So I guess, yeah, long way of answering your question. It already kind of feels like a take. Putting the trail on this end now also makes these lots are smaller. So haven't come up with anything.
No, I very much take your point. If Lehi is financing, is backing, sorry, I'm parsing this out in my brain. Is the concern more having space in terms of the lots, or is it about the financial impact of putting it in?
So, I mean, initially looking at it from our end, just from an engineering standpoint, it doesn't seem to make sense. You know, we've looked at lots of different iterations. We looked at putting it here. That's even steeper. We looked at putting it along the side of this, which that's only about a 2 to 3% incline. So from a safety standpoint, from having to put in stairs, that's fine. But 20 feet off of this one lot now makes this lot unusable. The frontage doesn't meet code. In order to make it fit code, we have to push this lot, which all of the utilities are already in place. We'd have to move all the utilities. That's just increased time and money, and you know, goes above and beyond what was in the preliminary. So we've looked at lots of different options, and it just doesn't feel like with all the changes that have happened to 600, it doesn't feel like engineering it you know, doesn't make sense. The one thing that may make sense is you know, putting in stairs here. That would deter you know, kids or strollers from going and running. It's a safety issue, but at that point, then you run into, you know, paying for the extra material for the cement stairs, paying for retaining walls, or reimbursement of some sort for, you know, now the 10 to 15 feet of unusable space on those 2 lots. So
my inclination on the situation is it would be stairs, retaining walls, making sure that you keep that space. Lehi created the situation. That would fall on Lehi. I hate that, and I understand, right? Things happen. I get how we're in this situation. I do hate simply throwing away connectivity standards. That's my initial take as I parse through this. If that would still work for you, Lehi.
Yeah.
Footing that bill.
Definitely willing. And we met with the staff today on site, and definitely open to seeing what works and what, you know, willing to work. It just looking at it from an engineering standpoint doesn't make sense. And then you know,
Gary's at your sentiment too. Look, this is please, engineer.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted me to wait for comments. So
this is everyone in the room.
Oh,
Let's have
Sorry,
it,
real
you know?
quick. Do you have any other photos or angles of the grade?
So the only photos I have are this one that shows all the slope, and then from below, this is where the trail would be from below, and this is where the trail would be from above.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just going to show it's.
Does those photos represent what you see on site and stuff?
I haven't been out there since they've graded and done some things like that on there.
Yeah, I was actually there this afternoon when he took these. The one that shows the really steep slope, you're looking kind of south, and I think we walked maybe 20 feet
Yeah.
from where so So, that, it gets really steep really
Yeah.
fast.
That picture is probably taken from about right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're
So
a little bit,
a little bit further south from where the trail is proposed, but kind of to paint that picture of it's pretty steep.
Where's the trail? I don't see it in the photos. Where's the trail across the street?
you mean the master plan trail
Mhm.
on 600 East? It's graded. You can see it at the bottom there. Yeah. So it'll go.
All of this
Oh,
right
okay.
here goes
I thought it was
down
going across the street.
and grades all the way up to the family park.
So it goes along 600, it doesn't cross
Yeah,
600.
yeah. So if we look at this, it's this gray grade in here. This line that goes all the way down along the full development, along phase 2 and then phase 3, eventually phase 5. So.
You're an engineer as well, right?
Yeah,
This is your jam.
I love this kind of stuff.
So here's two cents for me. I live in a neighborhood that we're lucky to live next to a master plan trail, right? And I love it. I love the access. I live on the trail. I have a fence in my backyard, a gate that goes right onto the trail. And it's awesome for me and my kids.
Yeah.
There was a huge lack of connectivity openings to that trail throughout the neighborhood. So I get really defensive of this particular use where you're connecting to a master plan trail. It sucks to lose that. It hurts the neighborhood. It hurts the opportunities for people to recreate. It makes it so those recreation opportunities are less appealing. You know, for even for a parent to send a 10-year-old kid that much further along what is another busy road
Yep.
out
Yeah.
front of it,
That's
that's a
game
huge
changing.
deterrent,
26.
right? Having that, even if it's a staircase, right?
Yeah.
Which obviously I think it would be at this point.
Yep.
If it's a staircase, in fact, I think a staircase is probably the best scenario because then you're not having a kid slide real fast down that road onto a busy street.
Depends on the
Right?
stairs. If it's few, if it's yeah,
Honestly,
Because you'd have to have a railing
I actually
along
think
that
the
too,
stairs
Yeah.
is a benefit here, not a deterrent.
Yep.
In my opinion. But I hate to see us lose that connectivity because I live in a neighborhood where that connectivity sucks, right? We live in a trail that goes literally all around. There are feet, hundreds and thousands of feet of trail, and there's one access point in the neighborhood, right? And it sucks. And people don't use the trail because of it. They're like, oh, it would be awesome to go out on the trail today, but I got to go clear back to that point of the neighborhood to get in. So losing that access, I know it is relatively inconsequential. There's not a ton of homes in this area. They're not that far away, really, to get onto it. But I think of that 10-year-old kid, right? And that parent that might say, you know, you got to go a little further, and now you got to go on 2000 North, which is a little busier,
2600.
or 2600.
But Austin, I very much take your point. Lehigh City did this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to sit in the red chair for just a second on those comments, Tyson, because if stairs, I think, would be the best solution. I live in a neighborhood on a hill, and we have stairs that have to be maintained and shoveled, and they're a mess. Luckily, we're in an HOA, so the city doesn't have to worry about that. But so if it's stairs, though, how accessible really is that trail? Because if I've got a stroller or if I'm taking my kids out on a bike, I'm not necessarily going to haul those bikes downstairs or my stroller downstairs and then back upstairs. So in that scenario, I'd still have to go out and around. So
But I still think it's infinitely more accessible than
true.
not having
Yeah,
it,
true.
right?
True.
As
It
an
is.
option.
But I'm just thinking some people might view it as be like, well, it's really not accessible for those specific scenarios. But you're right. Something might be better than
It's
nothing.
not ADA.
It's not.
Yeah,
But
it's
that's
an
not
imperfect
that's
answer
not a
to it.
requirement in our code. It doesn't have to be ADA.
No.
My opinion is, let's still do it. Let's put it in.
I'm with you, Tyson. It's just where I really will. Gary?
I want to hear
Steven?
Gary's.
Yeah.
Okay. So-
I need to hear this is just totally a bonkers idea to consider otherwise.
So, stepping back a little bit, when 6th East was originally put in, there was a wall planned to be almost 40 feet tall right here, right? As partially paid by Lehi City and HADCO to both fund that wall. Well, since then, and I wasn't part of these negotiations, but since then they've come back and renegotiated with John Hadfield to lower that wall or even eliminate it but then also reimburse him for the loss of the value of the property. So I know that they have been compensated for it. I don't know how much that was. I wasn't privy to that information, but I know that he has worked out an agreement with Hadco there on the loss of the value of those properties, because it does diminish the size to bring that grade up at 2 to 1% or 2 to 1 is what they agreed to do. And so it does diminish that footprint that a house could be set on there, and it does reduce the value of the property. So they have negotiated those prices there. As far as the 6% coming down, there's that trail that goes down 6th East and up the other side. There are parts of that trail that will be steeper than 6%. So 6% isn't crazy to have a trail. Now, I appreciate that coming down and T-boning into 6th East could be a dangerous situation there for kids and strollers and whatever else. That's why we kind of would suggest and recommend putting the trail on the diagonal there on the edge of the property where the trail will be almost dead flat. And then it wouldn't even be T-boning. It would enter 6th East kind of on an angle. I think it's in the package there, if you have that there. Anyway, that's kind of our engineering opinion, is that it should be there. It was part of the original plans to be there. We like the idea of the trail connecting on through there, and then to move it over to the other lot there, right next to lot 213. My eyes are good enough to read what the other lot is there, but kind of on the diagonal there where it would be pretty flat.
So Austin, what does that do to you guys if that happens?
So putting the trail here would make the frontage here not up to code. We'd have to push the lot line, which means all the utilities that are currently right here
okay.
need to all be pushed over.
Gary, what sayest thou to that?
So is this the current set of?
This is what was submitted.
This is what was submitted there.
Yeah.
You know, it still could be put between the two lots where it was originally supposed to be.
And it was spaced out for that. The utilities were put in place for that.
Yeah. It's just on this side of the utilities.
And maybe there's some engineering measures they could put along the road to keep people from going straight in, bollards or something there. I don't know, but
Is it a neighborhood maintained, or would this be a city maintained sidewalk?
We dedicate to the city, and the city would maintain.
Which I can see where stairs then become a headache because it is an HOA, and that means.
And I appreciate too if there's retaining walls, that adds to the cost. The stairs are expensive. An asphalt trail would be much cheaper.
So what's more expensive to the city, retaining wall and maintaining stairs, putting in the concrete stairs, or covering, footing the bill for shifting utility lines and accommodating what would happen if we did this gentler to the original set by lot 213?
It's a little hard to say, but I'm guessing that
if it's sixes, then it sounds like
it's probably going to be similar. I don't think it'll be double the cost one way or the other.
Austin, you guys
maybe he has a better feel on that.
Takes it for creating the situation. Is that?
What? I didn't catch that.
Lehi's footing the bill for having created the situation. Does that effectively? Attend to your needs, or
if it's between the two, we'd rather have the straight.
Yeah, because it's going to screw up lot sizes, even if exceptions were given and whatnot.
The time it would take to move all the utilities,
for sure,
as well as sharing it between two lots rather than one lot taking the whole thing and having to shift all the lots over and move everything around. It just feels like it'd be easier, but from a timeline and in my mind, potentially even maybe even of money, I think it feels like this would be cheaper. But I haven't run any of the numbers, so I don't know for sure.
How steep? With these stairs, there's a world of difference between 45-degree stairs like in a house versus we're up half a foot, have a bit of landing, up half a foot. What?
You're dropping 8 feet over 40 feet. It's
there's
big landings. You
Yeah.
can ride a bike down it.
The difficulty with pushing it back further and having big landings is then potentially has more retaining wall. You're going further into the tall hill, so you have more retaining wall.
Sure, but I do think it creates, if you've got several landings,
Yeah.
this is more likely for parents to say, I can get the stroller up, right, one at a time, push for a bit. You know, the 10-year-old who isn't proficient on the bike can get up and down. All right.
Any other questions for the applicant or staff? All right, well, thank you. This is a public hearing. At this time, we will open the public hearing and invite anyone wanting.
There's a comment.
And Katie, will you please read that comment?
This is from Montaigne Hamilton. It's a shame we have connectivity standards and no reason to have those connections due to them connecting to nothing. In this case, without the connection, there is no good way to walk anywhere south or east without a large detour. That said, there is likely not to be a lot of need for this, but if we are actually planning for a future, this exception should not be approved. We should be encouraging a more walkable community, and once this connection is given, this will lock this problem in for decades. Any pedestrian access to roads is dangerous, but forcing more people to make car trips only makes this a bigger problem. We cannot continue to be hostile to pedestrians by giving them less choices and excusing cars, and our lack of planning for creating dangerous conditions for them. The connectivity standards should be upheld here. We have already created the situation by not connecting these roads, which would have provided the connectivity in and of themselves. We should not compound the problem again. That's it.
All right, seeing no more comment, I'll close the public hearing and turn it back over to the commission.
I think it's retaining walls and stairs for me.
I'm not a fan. I just think it's a maintenance issue for the city going forward. Like, with retaining walls mean maintenance, concrete cracks, concrete. It's just money that the city's going to have to throw down the drain into the future. Yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. It's a maintenance condition. And to me, it's kind of a problem that Lehi City created itself by having to grade the road out, which we had to do to get over to 600. So for me, I'm not a big fan of forcing a retaining wall in that's then an ongoing maintenance bill for us.
I'm torn. I understand that. For me, if we're going to have something connecting to a trail, I'd like it. I know there's no ADA standards, but I would like it to be as accessible as possible for everyone. But understanding that puts, the developer and the city in a tougher spot to do that. I think at that point, I'd almost just not have anything at all. But I still don't know, because I do want access for some. I'd prefer if it was access for everybody.
I completely agree on
I
it.
said a lot without saying anything.
No. I mean, I mentioned eight.
Yeah,
Right,
ADA is
I went
huge.
there as
Like
well.
You're looking at 8% or greater slope.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what is ADA, 4%?
In this case, it would be 8%.
8%?
So it still would meet.
So it'd be ADA compliant, but if we didn't do retaining walls, it would take away the ability to build houses on there.
Not necessarily. I think if you look at like a normal stair, 8% is 1 in 12. So that's about what a stair would be. So it would probably be pretty similar to this grade here. Like maybe a 7 to 11 rise to run ratio, something like that.
Okay.
But
I also don't want to lose the comment that our engineer made that there was some consideration to the devaluation of the property with it that has already been agreed upon and or received. So that part of it is less impactful for me, seeing that there has been some remediation there for the developer in the loss. So to me, it's more than the value or the inconvenience for the developer. It's more about the standard of connectivity.
I I appreciate creating costs, especially that are indefinite. I also don't like the idea that, in a way, and by no means am I looking for words in your mouth. I want to be clear on that. All right. But to approve this exception could be taken as Lehi effectively saying, we create a situation, it's really inconvenient for us. We're not going to provide what we promised and to this community individually and what we have said we're doing as a whole across the city.
Yeah.
So to me, I see that, again, not a fan of creating an ongoing maintenance issue, but this is kind of part of the, it could we legally not execute? Yes, but I do see it as part of the social contract of between the city and its residents.
And there
I
are
agree with that.
there are areas in the city that have also asked for this type of an exception in the past, and we have landed on, okay, you don't need to put the road connection in there, but we still want a pedestrian connection, whether that be trail or stairs. I'm thinking particularly of the area around the new temple that's coming up. There are staircases throughout that neighborhood because of that. They asked
Yeah,
for an
they have to.
exception to the standard, and we said, okay, no road, but we still want that pedestrian connection. So I think there's a standard to uphold there as well. And I always worry about precedent as well. But I just think that we put a lot of energy into that connectivity standard, and it always gets questioned. I understand grade challenges, but I also think that that standard is crucial to uphold, or we will lose it throughout the city. But I will entertain a motion if someone has.
I'm happy to.
I don't know. Does Nicole have anything to say?
I already did.
Oh, you
And
did,
on my-
okay.
on my-
I'll make a
was
motion.
asking.
Go ahead.
Getting in my motions after not doing it for 2 years, you know?
Go for it.
So for item 3.2, public hearing recommendation of HADCA, right? JDH. I drew right through development's request for an exception on the required trail connection to the master plan trail on Vivian Estates Phase 2B, located at approximately 2600 north, 600 east. I move that we deny the,
Offer a negative recommendation.
yes, forgive me, I'm rusty, right? Offer a negative recommendation with the findings that the proposed trail is, it's part of our connectivity standards that we do not want to compromise on, that it can, at an 8% grade with stairs, be done in a safe manner. And I'll also add, note that we recognize Lehi City created the situation, and so we still have a responsibility to our citizens to meet the standards that we've promised. And DRCs.
I'll second it.
Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Was that a nay?
No, I went to ask if he's opposed. Those habits
was
are.
That was a gut reaction.
All right, carries forward with a negative recommendation. When does this go to the city council?
February, end of February. Let's see.
Is it the 24th, Kate? Aren't we delaying?
Oh, but we have the 3 full weeks. Let's see.
We changed things up a little bit with the new council. Sorry.
The city council debate over their schedule this year was intense. So
Why?
Okay.
Basically 3 weeks, or yeah.
Just wanna fight
a
about
lot of people. No, just
So it moves
Okay.
forward in
February 10th.
February 10th.
it.
I will note for the applicant,
the meetings to have.
we're a governing body that does not control the purse strings. They do, and they'll look at it and they'll
Yep.
determine if it's financially feasible or not, or something that they're willing to take on.
We recommend, we are not a legislative body.
Thank you.
Thank you.
City business.
I don't really have any. Just a reminder maybe that your work session would be next, or 2 weeks from now. Yeah, the 5th.
We don't have a meeting next week, right?
Yeah, that's right. So it's the 5th Thursday. And on the work session, we will cover there'll be several trainings. Utah Open Public
Meetings Act, and then
the bylaws.
we'll go through the bylaws, and then we might go through some Robert's Rules of Order, just if you guys have any questions.
Never bad call.
So,
Is there a way to participate in that remotely?
yeah.
Okay.
Also, it will be recorded. I'm not going to be here on the 5th.
I also will not be here.
Oh, sounds like you're
I'm
not going to
not
be here on the
planning-
5th.
I mean, I can change my plans, but I was planning on driving on the 5th, but yeah. It's
You wanna
pending
maybe
snowpack,
Move it
so.
to our next meeting then.
It sounds like maybe that would be the right call.
I think it would be best, just
Make it work.
the open meeting one is required
Drive, so I didn't have to drive.
by the state once a year.
What does our first meeting look like?
First meeting in February?
Okay.
No, if we haven't.
I would recommend doing the second meeting,
I get that.
because
Yeah.
I'll be out of town.
Oh, you'll be out of town the 12th.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gone the 9th
Let's move it to May.
of the
Yeah. see all May. That sounds great.
27.
I'll be gone in May.
Do we need to have an ad
I'll
hoc
be in Vegas.
meeting on a random
Yeah,
day?
I'll be in Los Angeles for a shoot.
So do we, I guess we'd
I can make it
technically have
work
enough for
if
a
we need to be.
quorum to do the work session, but then.
Yeah, but also like it's kind of an important
I
work
know,
session,
I know,
right?
so maybe we just
Let's bump it to the 27th of February if they're.
cancel the work session then?
26th.
26th. I won't be here the 27th.
Okay.
No one will be.
Is that because
I won't be here the
we're having
26th.
You
six
better check
there?
your schedule.
2, 3
Yes,
with you.
because
3
I
if
have-
I'm gone.
And chaperoning a school trip for my kids.
Oh, Craig.
Maybe not. I don't
Nate
want
can
to
do
miss
it.
but-
I can walk Nate through. Or if you want, we can bump it to the March work session. Kim and I will get together and get it scheduled.
Hey, I'll
Nope.
send emails, of course, but let me just note, I'll be missing a few more meetings than I'd like in the next few months. I'm just on the road a lot.
Ideally, you would not be here. Oh, wow.
That's normal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're old.
So like,
There's a reason that this building just got this.
okay, I can.
This
make
is
it
the
work,
last
like, on the
meeting in
5th.
this
Are we gonna, if we hold it and they're gone, I'll be here. So if we
Okay,
don't hold
but-
it, then
Yeah, but so ideally, you'd prefer, yeah.
I have no
So
preference.
you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be here, you're
I'm here.
on the, okay, for the work session.
Yes,
And
for the
then
5th?
You
Yes.
two would be here.
I'm here.
Oh, gone
gone.
and here.
I'm
We just need to know if Ken
going
and
to
Bo are gonna
suggest
be here.
that you just bump it.
Yeah, sounds like
Should we cancel the work session?
there's, yeah.
What
I
else were you
guess
planning to discuss?
We'd have a quorum, but we're gonna be missing enough that it's, yeah.
Is this normally we have other people, like they're presenting projects to us?
Work sessions are more just for
Like
training,
training.
or if we have, there's no action items, so it's just
Okay.
more training or,
If it's like a big item that's coming up that needs some extra discussion, or,
yeah,
you know, like the downtown
revitalization.
revitalization. And
We had somebody come and teach us how to professionally argue with each other once.
Oh, yeah.
That was really
Conflict
fun.
resolution training.
Yeah, I don't think that was the message I was trying to convey.
That's what I got out of it.
we had an active shooter training once.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
That was intense.
That was a sober and
I
fun
still
night.
have some nightmares about that, but
I know.
I have to do those at work, and they're
They
not
shot me
fun.
point blank in
Yeah.
the chest.
So, okay.
We don't
I-
do active
Probably,
shooters in my work.
yeah, unless
we had an active
something comes up, I think
talk
we'll
for
just
you
end up
once, Jack.
canceling February work session.
Okay.
And then we'll decide, I guess we could do the bylaws on the 10th of February, just not the Open Meetings Act.
Yeah.
So we'll just postpone that to
Perfect.
the March. What's that?
12.
12th of February?
Yeah.
Okay, you said 10th. That's a
Oh,
Tuesday.
sorry,
That's okay. I'm
February
just checking.
12th.
Okay, so
I
February
live and
12th.
die by my calendar. So
Sorry, I
have to make sure
apologize.
things are right.
Apparently plan a week ahead.
So the 5th is canceled.
12th would be a regular.
Yeah, it sounds like
Okay.
enough is gone. The 12th is pretty full.
To the
Maybe
12th.
let's leave
Okay.
it on, so, yeah, the 12th looks like it's a pretty full agenda.
Yeah. I think we have another
Like,
week of
Last
DRC.
planning session agenda?
Oh, dude, 4 hours is definitely a thing.
Oh yeah, that
Can I move now that we run a 2-minute timer?
for sure.
Okay.
No, that was an error that I did not run a timer in the last meeting.
We'll forgive you.
I'm gonna give you crap until
Okay,
you.
but we're still doing 7 o'clock on the 12th.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah.
It shouldn't be that bad.
Don't say these things beforehand. Why would you jinx
it
us
a-
like that?
Is it a Brittany meeting or is it a?
I mean, there's just a lot of items, but I don't know. Just a couple zone changes.
Some of them should be
These you
pretty
won't answer.
straightforward.
Yeah, you hear it all catch like, oh, zone changes.
I mean, just let us know.
Those are
is
always
Brittany in
smooth.
charge? Because those go
Just so you guys
No,
know,
it's Jacob.
Katie meetings are the short meetings this year.
Jacob?
I looked at
Oh, okay.
Only took spraining my ankle to break the curse. So.
How about we'll put it on at the end of the agenda for the bylaws.
And then we
And
can kick it if
gets
we
to be
need to.
10 o'clock, we'll just roll it again to the
Sure.
second meeting in February. How's that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Take a motion to end the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey.
Any opposed?
Awesome.
No
Thank you.
gavel?
Use the can.
Do you know the
Use
history?
the can.
Do you know the history of this gavel?
Absolutely.
It was from
I don't.
what's his name? Scott.